suppose there is no real way of accessing the thing you hold most dear. There's this part of yourself that you just really want to reach out and touch. You want to point your finger out and prod yourself and sort of declare to the world that I am here. You want to say, I live inside this body, I live inside this box. Because it's difficult to reconcile with the fact that all these things are coming in, all these inputs, millions of them. The green of the cactus plant on my windowsill, the shiny glossiness of the plastic on my biro pen. There's all these things that my mind has to consolidate, and there's all these inputs, millions of them going into my nodes, and then all that comes out is this voice, I suppose. This one singular, monotonous signal comes out of me. It seems like it comes from a single source, and I suppose I'm really, really urgently desiring to pinpoint that source and to have myself hold it. I get a little bit worried sometimes that these experiments in the self might destroy me someday, because, well, there are two ways of looking at it really. You can either get out your flashlight, look at the thing you want to look at, maybe magnify it under a magnifying glass, and before you know it, you've burnt the thing to a crisp, the thing you wanted to look at. You've focused all the rays of your flashlight through your magnifying glass and just burnt the thing to a crisp. Those are the things that are at stake, really, when you're so passionately wanting to point to the thing that is you. I think it's far better that people have invented ways of segregating themselves from themselves and imagining a cloudy soul that is untouchable, that if you look at it or think about it, it doesn't vanish because it's already something vague. The self is a cloud. It's like a ghost. So you can't touch it because our realm of physics can't harm it. And so it's a very risky decision to decide to compartmentalize myself into these different beings and to have them scout all over the place. I do remember that in certain traditions there have been these communities in which the small tribe or community or wherever it is, they choose one person in their ranks and send them out to scout for new lands. And when the scouter comes back, this singular individual in the community seems to have a perspective on the whole that no one else in the community has. So the community knows itself in a certain way through this individual, but it's not really a shared phenomenon. It's not something the entire community sees at once. The scouter, because he's an outsider, he has this new perspective. And, well, I've adopted the same kind of concept in my methodology. What I do is I take a part of myself. I say, all right, you, this part of my mind, I'm going to make you the scouter in the community of myself. You are going to actually leave all of us. You're going to go out there and then you're going to peer in. You're going to come back and tell us what you saw. And my experience with doing this led to, I suppose, several different kind of problematic ways of thinking about who I am. Because when the scouter came back, well, how can I trust him? He's not part of the community anymore. He's been externalized in a certain way in order to be able to see me. And when he came back, I wasn't sure whether to trust him. This part of my mind that was the scouter of myself, and God knows what he's seen out there while he's been externalized and like sort of accessing new lands and new cultures, and then he comes back and with this externalized gaze says he can see us, and he tries to describe to myself what he saw. Well, this scouter, he came back, this little piece of my mind, and he started to describe in great detail all the things he saw, all the little neuronal little nodes firing away. And he said, you know what? You're all kind of homogenous to me. You're all kind of homogenized after my experiences in the outdoors. And we were really angry about this. And we said to him, what are you talking about? You've just gone out there and you've sort of desensitized yourself to our ways, and that's what's happened here. You don't have the sensibilities to understand your own community anymore. You are an outsider. And basically it led to me casting out this part of my mind forever. It was gone. It was gone. It was an outsider. Now, what we need to think about, and it hasn't really erupted yet in the universe of my own self, we really need to think about the potentials of warfare, mental warfare. The mental warfare that can erupt when you create an us and them in your own self.